morning. Today it's TryHard reading quarter 11. So, today I've added a grapefruit. Yes, I painted a grapefruit. The good question is, why did I paint a grapefruit? And I honestly can't tell you. I was digging around in my keepsake boxes and things like that I've kept over the years when I was a student and things, and I found a treasure, and I have to show you. So, when I was little, my family lived in York, Nebraska for a time. Kindergarten, first and second grade for me. And then when I was in third grade, my family moved to Lincoln, and Lincoln's basically my hometown, but before it was York. And in second grade, when I was leaving, my teacher had all my classmates make a book for me. And it's the I Am Moving book, okay? Now, I was scrolling through this, and there tends to be a little bit of a pattern that shines a light on to what Miss Johnson was like as a small child. And you've heard my own personal stories, especially with my family, but this is my second grade classmates' perspective on me. And I love it, and I have to show you because what else are we gonna do? So I'm gonna read a little bit of this, and then we will do Wayside because this is just too good. Okay, so it kind of prompts the second graders. So it's like, I will miss blank, especially because, and they give a reason why, okay? So I will miss Little Miss Johnson, especially because she played so many games. Versatile, it's good. Let's see. Here's a good one. I will miss Little Miss Johnson, especially because we get in trouble. And I'm gonna hide their identity. But here's a little picture. I guess I'm on a swing set and I am laughing or screaming. I don't know, but yeah, this little classmate really will miss that about me. I love this. I will miss Little Miss Johnson because she was my neighbor. I had a friend that we lived right next to each other. It was so much fun. I will miss Little Miss Johnson, especially because she made me laugh. I did a lot of silly things. I'm trying to find. Oh, here's a classic. I will miss Little Miss Johnson, especially because we will miss her when she gets in trouble. Now look at this artwork right here. Okay, so here's my teacher. And she is saying, Little Miss Johnson, time out. And then look at my smug little face. Like, I know what I did was wrong, but I'm so proud of it and I don't care. And I've been noticing that all the boys in my class, it was a very small class, I think we had like 12, all the boys in my class, they're the ones that miss when I get in trouble. I will miss Little Miss Johnson, especially because she is cool. Yes, I am. Thank you. I will miss Little Miss Johnson. Oh, she is really nice. That's a nice one. I think that's a little generous. I will miss Little Miss Johnson, especially because I will miss her mostly because when we get in trouble. And again, it's a boy, it's another of my boy classmates. So yeah, if you're curious as to what it was like with me, I guess I was a bit of a troublemaker. I don't know, but I saw it, and like especially the picture of me where I'm so like gold, pure gold. I love it. So shout out to the second grade class at St. Joseph's in York, Nebraska. I still have it. It's one of my most prized possessions. I remember when I left, I missed everyone. But actually, that's when I switched to St. Peter's, and I really like St. Peter's too, so it worked out great. But this is gonna be a keeper. This is amazing. So today, it's Wayside Day. So excited. We need to check where we were. Okay, so not last class. Oh, I miss saying class. Oh, sad. Last time, we read about Myron, who is the best class president because he saved that dog, remember? But then he lost his job because he didn't turn on the lights. And then we had Maricela, who's obsessed with ice cream. So Mrs. Jules made a flavor of each kid, and she liked the way Joe tasted, so she bit his arm. I love this school. We are moving on to chapter 10 and 11. Chapter 10 is, again, I feel like every time I say it's one of my favorites. Honestly, I love this book. This is why it's my favorite book. Here we go. It's a good one. Chapter 10, Paul. Paul had the best seat in Mrs. Jewls' class. He sat in the back of the room. It was the seat that was the furthest away from Mrs. Jewls. Mrs. Jewls was teaching the class about fractions. She drew a picture of a pie on the blackboard. She cut the pie into 8 pieces. She explained that each piece was 1/8 of the pie. Paul never paid attention. He didn't see the picture of the pie. He didn't see anything. Well, he did see one thing. Actually, he saw 2 things. He saw Leslie's 2 pigtails. Leslie sat in front of Paul. She had 2 long brown pigtails that reached all the way down to her waist. Paul saw those pigtails and had a terrible urge came upon him. He wanted to pull a pigtail. He wanted to wrap his fist around it. He wanted to feel the hair between his fingers and just yank it. He thought it would also be fun to tie the pigtails together, or better yet, tie them to her chair. But most of all, he really just wanted to pull one. Slowly, he reached for the one on the right. No, what am I doing? He thought. I'll only get into trouble. Paul had it made. He sat in the back of the room. He paid no attention to anyone, and nobody paid any attention to him. But if he pulled a pigtail, it would all be over, and Leslie would tell on him, and he'd become the center of attention. He sighed and slowly withdrew his arm. But Paul couldn't ignore those pigtails. There they were, dangling right in front of him, just begging to be pulled. He could close his eyes, but he couldn't make the pigtails disappear. He could still smell them and hear them. He could almost taste them. Maybe just a little tug, thought Paul. No, none. There they hung, easily within his reach. Well, let them just hang there, Paul thought. It would be foolish to pull one. No matter how tempting they are, none of the other children in the class are pulling pigtails. Why should he? Of course, none of the other kids were sitting behind Leslie either. It was just a simple matter of being able to think clearly. That was all. Paul had thought it over and decided to not pull one. It was as simple as that. Suddenly, his arm shot forward. He grabbed Leslie's right pigtail and yanked. "Yeah!" screamed Leslie. Everyone looked at her. "Paul pulled my pigtail," she said. They all looked at Paul. I couldn't help it," said Paul. "You better learn to help it," said Mrs. Jewls, as she wrote Paul's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. "Now you tell Leslie you're sorry." "I'm sorry, Leslie," said Paul. "Humph," said Leslie. Paul felt horrible. Never again would he ever pull another pigtail. Except there was one problem. He still wasn't satisfied. He had pulled the right one, but that wasn't enough. He wanted to pull that left one too. It was as if he had heard a little voice come from the pigtail saying, "Pull me, Paul, pull me." "I can't," Paul answered. "My name is on the blackboard under the word discipline." "Big deal," said the pigtail. "Pull me." "No way," said Paul. "Never again." "Aw, come on, Paul, just a little tug," urged the pigtail. "What harm could it do?" "Lots of harm," said Paul. "Leslie will scream and I'll get in trouble again." "Boy, that's not fair," whined the pigtail. "You pulled the right one, now it's my turn." "I know, but I can't," said Paul. "Sure you can," said the pigtail. "Just grab me and yank." "No," said Paul. "It's not right." "Sure it is, Paul," said the pigtail. "Pigtails are meant to be pulled. That's what we're here for." "Tell that to Leslie," said Paul. "Leslie won't mind," said the pigtail. "I promise." "I bet," said Paul. "Just like she didn't mind the last time." "You just didn't pull hard enough," said the pigtail. "Leslie likes us pulled real hard." "Really?" asked Paul. "Cross my heart," said the pigtail. "The harder the better." "Okay," said Paul, "but if you're lying." "I promise," said the pigtail. Paul grabbed the left pigtail. It felt good in his hand, and he pulled it as hard as he could. "Yeah!" screamed Leslie. Mrs. Jewls asked, "Paul, did you just pull Leslie's pigtail again?" "No," said Paul. "I pulled the other one." All the children laughed. "Are you trying to be funny?" asked Mrs. Jewls. "No," said Paul. "I was just trying to be fair. I couldn't pull one and not the other." The children laughed again. "Pigtails are meant to be pulled," Paul concluded. Mrs. Jewls put a check next to Paul's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. But at last Paul was satisfied. True, his name wasn't on the blackboard with a check next to it, but that really didn't matter. All he had to do was stay out of trouble for the rest of the day, and his name could be erased. It was easy to stay out of trouble when you have the best seat in the class. In fact, Paul could do this every day. He could pull Leslie's pigtails twice and then stay out of trouble for the rest of the day. There was nothing Leslie could do about it. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Leslie screamed, "Yeah!" Mrs. Jules circled Paul's name and sent him home early on the kindergarten bus. No one would believe that he hadn't pulled Leslie's pigtails again. I think my favorite part of that chapter is the fact that he literally has a conversation with hair. He has a conversation with the pigtails. I love it. Okay, chapter 11, Dana. Dana had 4 beautiful eyes. She wore glasses, but her eyes were so beautiful that the glasses only made her prettier. With 2 eyes, she was pretty. With 4 eyes, she was beautiful. With 6 eyes, she would have been even more beautiful. And if she had 100 eyes all over her face and her arms and her feet, why, she would be the most beautiful creature in the world. But poor Dana wasn't covered from head to foot with beautiful eyes. She was covered with mosquito bites. Mrs. Jewell picked up her yardstick and said, "Now it's time for arithmetic." "Oh, no, Mrs. Jewell," said Dana. "I can't do arithmetic. I itch all over. I can't concentrate." "But we have all kinds of arithmetic," said Mrs. Jewell. Addition without carrying, addition with carrying, carrying without addition. "I don't care," cried Dana. "We have that too," said Mrs. Jewell. Addition without carrying. Now stop carrying on. Dana whined. "I can't, Mrs. Jewell. I itch too much." "And I'm too thirsty," said DJ. "And I'm too tired," said Ron. "I'm too hungry," said Terrence. "And I'm too stupid," said Todd. Mrs. Jewell hit her desk with her yardstick. Everyone stopped talking. Mrs. Jewell said, "We are going to have arithmetic now, and I don't want to hear another word about it." "But Mrs. Jewell, I really do itch. I can't do arithmetic," Dana whined. "No," said Mrs. Jewell. "Arithmetic is the best known cure for an itch. How many mosquito bites do you have?" "I don't know," said Dana. "Over 100. First I try to scratch one, but then another one starts to itch, and I have to scratch that one, and then that one stops, and the other one starts, and so I scratch that one, and the itch moves down to another one, and then it goes back to the first one. The itch never stays in one place. I just can't scratch them all." "What you need is good, strong dose of arithmetic," said Mrs. Jewell. "No, I'd rather have some lotion," said Dana. "Remember, Dana," said Mrs. Jewell, "mosquito bites itch, not numbers." "So what?" said Dana. Mrs. Jewell continued, "We'll just have to turn your mosquito bites into numbers." "I'm a mess," Dana moaned. Mrs. Jewell began to turn the mosquito bites into numbers. "How much is 3 mosquito bites plus 3 mosquito bites?" she asked. Rondi raised her hand. 6 mosquito bites," she answered. "How much is 6 mosquito bites minus 2 mosquito bites?" said Mrs. Jewell. 4 mosquito bites," said DJ. "How much is 5 mosquito bites times 2, asked Mrs. Jewell. 10 mosquito bites, said Bibi. "Very good," said Mrs. Jewell. "I still itch," complained Dana. "I've got one more question," said Mrs. Jewell. "How much is 49 mosquito bites plus 75 mosquito bites?" No one raised their hand. "Think, class," said Mrs. Jewell. "This is for Dana." No one knew the answer. Dana's itch began to get worse and worse and worse. At last, Dana started counting her own mosquito bites. She counted 75 on one side and 49 on the other, and then she added them together for the total of 124 mosquito bites. 124 mosquito bites, Dana called. "Very good," said Mrs. Jewell. Dana had 124 mosquito bites, and none of them itched anymore. "I'm still thirsty," said DJ. "Can arithmetic do anything for that?" "I'm still tired," said Ron. "I'm still hungry," said Terrence. "And I'm still stupid," said Todd. "I'm glad we turned my mosquito bites into numbers instead of letters," said Dana. "I could never spell mosquito." Oh, wow. What a fun one. Well, yeah, nice, short and easy, breezy, beautiful TryHard Reading Corner 11. That's crazy. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Little Miss Johnson from 2nd grade. I guess I was a troublemaker. I just think I just was very outspoken, right? That's what we'll call it. But I hope that everything's going well. You're rockin' e-learning. I love you. I miss you. I'm praying for you. I wish I could see your beautiful faces on the daily. But yeah, keep your chin up and keep up the good work. See ya.